Welcome back to the Keeping It Real with KC podcast. I, of course, am your host, KC Phoenix. So, yeah, a daily thought. I'm doing this. I have to get some water, too, because I just finished doing a reading. And then also, yeah, I don't know why I didn't drink more water early. I only had one bottle so far, and we're already close to noon. Usually I have like 2 bottles to 3 bottles by then. Okay, much better. Now, before I go any further, KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. This podcast is carried on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Overcast, Bullhorn, Amazon Music, Audible, and several other podcasting platforms. Please feel free to listen to this podcast on whatever platform is most convenient for you. KIRWKC on all the social media platforms. Okay, so here we are with the daily thought. This was on my spirit this morning. And I was just like, yeah, I think I want to talk about this. So, title of the daily thought, so much hell in your life. And this, my daily thoughts usually originate from some experience that I have. I'm sure you heard me talk about this before. For my longtime listeners, my Firebirds, you already know. So, one of my pet peeves, and for some people it's a small thing, for me it's a huge thing. One of my pet peeves is littering. That is a pet peeve of mine. And when I see people litter, I look and I'm like, that says a lot. And I know some people are like, KC, how does that say a lot? I'll explain. First of all, the area that I live in, we have an HOA. So, one of the things that comes with the HOA is a maintenance crew. So, the maintenance team is constantly cleaning up garbage and trash and stuff. And the people who live in this community, one of the reasons I believe that they just throw stuff anywhere and everywhere is because we have a maintenance team that will just pick up after them because that's part of the agreement with the HOA, which, I mean, that's one thing that they do. This HOA, I have so many, I used to work in real estate. I know the deal with HOAs. I'm not a fan, but I digress. So, with the cleaning that happens, people just throw more and more trash out everywhere. I don't care what people do inside their homes because it's your home. If you want to keep a junky house, then by all means, go ahead. You have free will. And it's the same thing with the trash too. On the outside, you have free will. Even when there are laws involved, you have free will. And that's actually one of the things with the HOA, which they've even put that up on, I guess you could say the bulletin or whatever before, saying, hey, please don't litter. Or, hey, please do this, or hey, please do that. Even with rules by the HOA, or even with actual laws on the books. Just like, it's against the law to rob a bank. At the same time, you have free will. You can do what you want to do. So, now, after you do what you want to do, there may be consequences, but you can still do what you want to do. So, with the littering thing, I look at it as people who litter, their energy is polluted. And it is like highly polluted energy. The reason I say that is because if you don't care about your surroundings, and not even your surroundings, I'm just talking about even if you're out, because in Los Angeles, when I lived in Los Angeles, when I tell you there is trash everywhere. There is trash everywhere in Los Angeles. Everywhere. And that was one of the things I discussed with the sales rep before I moved here. Because when I had sent someone to go, scout out the area for me, because I didn't want to have to fly, here and then fly back and then have to pack and drive across country and all this other stuff. So I sent someone to do it, and she mentioned, hey, I noticed some trash. And then I brought it up to the rep. And she was like, well, no, they have a maintenance crew that cleans things up. It's not really bad, da 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 da. I was like, okay, cool, long as it's not like Los Angeles. And she was like, no. No, it's not like that. I was like, okay, fine. And it's not. Thank God. However, it's with attitudes like this, it's going to get like Los Angeles. Because people just don't care. And when you don't care enough to put something in the garbage can versus just throwing it out wherever the mood, wherever the mood fits you or wherever the wind blows, then that shows a lot about the individuals who do it. Again, their energy is polluted, it's not balanced. And because it's overly polluted, there's other things that's going on within them where they're not processing, or they just feel they don't have the bandwidth to worry about trash. And I mentioned this before in one of my daily thoughts too, about, playing devil's advocate. Some people might feel cleaning up trash or either focusing on where to put trash is not important to them. They don't have the bandwidth. They feel they have other important things. Like, that's not a big deal of some trash being on the ground. But you have to remember that we have, going on 8 billion, B as in boy, people on this planet now. If everybody was in that energy of, oh, well, it's not a big deal, I can just throw trash anywhere, then the planet would be a wreck. Everything would be a wreck. In addition to that, you have other health concerns that play a role when trash builds up. That happened actually in New York with the whole rats thing. And then also there was things going on in Los Angeles because so much trash had built up, not just with rats, but I feel like with something else that was like diseases and stuff like that were making a comeback because it's not sanitary. And when people don't take the time to think about things like that, that lets me know their energy is polluted. And now I'm going to so much hell in your life. That is the example. Sometimes, as I mentioned before, you have to do an audit. I had a conversation with my auntie, because for those of you who have been listening, recently I flew back to South Carolina to see my parents and my family, because I hadn't been to South Carolina in 10 years. The last time I had went was July of 2012. Pretty sure it was 2012. July of 2012, I think. And that was to visit my family for my grandmother's birthday, which that grandmother, we had it a little bit late because her birthday is the day before mine. So, I'm a June Cancer. So we ended up having the party late, but whatever. Made it to the party, did that, saw all the family, and then after that, they didn't see me again until a few weeks ago, where I called and stuff from time to time, but my auntie and my uncle, they hadn't seen me in 10 years. And I went over to my auntie's house, and like I said, she redid her entire house, and it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. Her kitchen is amazing. So yeah, and I was talking to them, at the island in the kitchen. I was on the little stool and stuff, and I was telling my auntie, my back is itching. That's why I'm like, I know some people who are watching the video like, what is he doing? My back's itching. That's why I'm like moving around. But anyways, so I was talking to my auntie, and I was telling her how, because the big thing was when I moved out here, no one knew I was moving. And I talked about that in my podcast. No one knew I was moving because I made it a point not to tell anyone, because I didn't want anyone's voices in my ear. Because you know how when you tell people things, especially if it's something that you're planning to do, everybody has an opinion about how you should do it, what you should do, and everything else. And I'm fine with that for the most part, because feedback is a gift, as they used to say all the time at T-Mobile when I worked there. However, for this particular thing, I wasn't looking for anyone's feedback. This particular move that I was looking to make, I wanted to do it on my own, without any help, without any outside voices. I just wanted to get it done. And that is what I did. I moved everything, which obviously I can't take all the credit, because I always tell everything that happened, it was nobody but God. So, God takes most of the credit. I was just the vessel. But it got done, is the point. And I came out here, did my thing, and I was explaining to my auntie how much peace I've had, because I did an audit of everything around me. And I'm like, okay, am I taking this into my new environment? Because I care about my environment. Hence, why I don't litter. I can't think of the last time I was just like, oh, let me just throw this on the ground anywhere. Because I'm not in that energy. It doesn't set well with my spirit, where I can just throw trash on the ground willy-nilly. I just can't do it. So, yeah, and I'm not saying I'm better than the next person. I'm just saying it doesn't set right with my spirit. So I can't do that. But I care about my environment. So I didn't want to bring other energies into my environment. I.e., telling the ex, my exact location of where I'm moving to, giving out my address. My parents still don't even know my address. The only person who knows my address is in people I personally know. Clearly, some businesses have them, but usually I give out the P.O. box to most people in businesses and stuff. But the only person that has my address is a friend of mine, and that is because he was a contact on my application when I submitted it. So it's kind of like, okay, well, if you're on the application, if your name, I feel it's kind of fair that you have the actual physical address. But other than that, I haven't given it to anyone. And even with me dealing with people, chatting with people online, because I still date and I still, get to know people friends-wise and stuff like that, or should I say acquaintance-wise or associate-wise. Because again, like I mentioned yesterday, I don't really have that many friends. But when getting to know people, I still haven't given anyone my address yet at all. And I still haven't met anyone either since I've been here. I've been here for over a year now. And I've made it a point, because when I talk to people, I'm trying to vet them as best I can. Because again, once you get people into your life, it's not always as easy to get them out of your life. I mean, yeah, you could go full ghost on people, but who has the time to keep doing all of that? I know I don't. I'm not looking to make time to keep doing all of that. So the better thing to do would be to vet people up front and then be like, okay, is this somebody I really want in my life? So yeah, and I've been in that energy because I care about my environment, and also because I'm not looking to add hell to my life. That's the whole point. Again, like I've always said it yesterday, life will always be hard, because if there isn't any type of adversity in your life, you will never grow. So that's already a given. It's a given that as soon as you land on planet Earth, in the flesh, in the 3D, your life will be hard in one way or another. What I'm talking about is adding the additional hard on top of the hard that you're already receiving. And it's kind of like, okay, why are we adding all this extra weight when it doesn't have to be, my eyelash, when it doesn't have to be like that? And part of that is doing an audit. That's why I was telling my auntie and my uncle when I was talking to them, because they were asking about the moving and why I didn't really tell anyone and this and that. And I was like, you know what? I haven't talked to anyone at all. I mean, I talk to people on the phone and by text and stuff. Like, I stay in contact with people, but it's not a huge priority to me because I have other things to focus on. But I've had peace. And that's what I told them. I was like, I've had so much peace. I haven't had to deal with people and their shenanigans. And that's what I'm talking about in this daily thought. So much hell in your life. Some of the things, again, it's a given. It's just going to come with the territory. It's part of the course. But other things, you have to ask yourself, why is this happening? Does it lead back to anything? Does it lead back to anyone? Type of thing. I just finished doing a reading. Lots of Seven of Swords energy going on. But like lots of Seven of Swords energy. Like people are just verbally reckless right now. it seems. Because, yeah, that's the thing. But for those people who are verbally reckless, they might have hell in their life because they're verbally reckless. I'm not saying don't speak your mind. I encourage people to speak their mind. I encourage people to own what they do. What I don't encourage is to throw rocks and hide your hands and do stuff like that. What I don't encourage is for people to make things up when they don't know anything. So, and for the people that are in those type of energies, I can promise you they have a lot of hell going on in their life that they probably wouldn't have if they weren't in that energy. And that's what I'm saying. That's why you have to be careful what environments you surround yourself with, what environments you're in. It's like there's so much hell in your life. If you eliminated X, would that make some of the hell go away? Because there's certain friendships that I decided I made the choice not to nurture anymore. I didn't want to nurture the friendship. It's like, okay, I'm going to put this friendship on life support. And if it lives, it lives. If it dies, it dies. That's how I'm looking at it with some of these quote unquote friendships. And one thing that I noticed is that when I wasn't tied to that energy, a lot more peace came into my life. Now, obviously, I still deal with stuff. Again, life is going to be hard. I'm dealing with a health issue that I have to get worked out over the next few months and stuff. So, is it a little frustrating? Yes. But it's life, and that's whatever. But would I want to be dealing with a health issue and then be dealing with some type of drama that's being caused by somebody else that usually has nothing to do with me, or having stuff thrown on my doorstep, emotional baggage put on my doorstep that I don't need to have any part in? Yeah, I'd rather go without that. I don't need that extra weight right now. Maybe later I might allocate some bandwidth for it, but usually, if there's shenanigans attached, I'm not really trying to allocate bandwidth to entertaining it. I'm just not. And that's what I'm talking about in this daily thought. So much hell in your life. Some people really need to take a look at their life and see what the root cause of the issue is. Where is such and such coming from? Once you identify that, that's when you need to go into modifying it or either eliminating it. Modify it or eliminate it. Can it be, and when it comes to a relationship, can it be modified where it's more equal give and take, where people aren't just throwing stuff on your doorstep all the time, where they're like, oh, can you do this for me? Oh, can you help out with this? Oh, do you have any ideas about this? Oh, what do you think about this? Oh, can I borrow this amount of money? Oh, can I borrow that amount of money? This and that. But when you need something, it isn't reciprocated. And there isn't any true offers to reciprocate. Again, so much hell in your life. Find out what the root cause is. And it could be a root cause of one thing, or it could be multiple things that are bringing more hell into your life. But you need to get to the bottom of it and find out the root cause. In order to do that, you have to care. Again, going back to the garbage thing, that energy is an energy that doesn't care. So if this energy doesn't care, how can it take the initiative to clean up the things that are bringing hell into their life? You have to care first. If you truly care about having peace in your life, then you will be able to go ahead and look and say, okay, you know what? I think this is it. I think this is the root cause of some of these things. Let me go ahead and modify this or eliminate this. That's what I'm talking about. And right now with Mercury retrograde, this would be the perfect time to do it. This would be the perfect time to do that audit, to figure out some of the things that might be causing so much hell in your life. And that is my daily thought. KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. This podcast is carried on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Overcast, Bullhorn, Amazon Music, Audible, and several other podcasting platforms. please feel free to listen to this podcast on whatever platform is most convenient for you. KIRWKC on all the social media platforms. Till next time, be blessed.